President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. says that it is unacceptable for Filipinos to be harmed as the country confronts threats to its sovereignty. During his speech at the Day of Valor in Mount Samat, Bataan, the president says that threats to the nation persist.
The fall of Bataan thus marked the resurgence of the genuinely independent and sovereign Philippines. 82 years on, our nation remains confronted with novel challenges in varying forms and degrees, but with the same existential impact.
Marcos adds that present threats that harm some Filipinos are indeed unacceptable.
Some portend clear and present threats to our sovereign rights and in fact have already caused physical harm to our people. Ang mga ito ay hindi katanggap-tanggap, hindi makatwiran o makatarungan, lalo na sa panahong ito ng payapang pakikipag-ugnayan ng mga bansa.
While the president does not specify any incident, the speech comes a month after the Chinese Coast Guard injured Filipino crew members in the West Philippine Sea. The president also reminds the present and future generations to emulate Filipinos who fought in the war, saying we should not allow abuse to happen in our own territory. Tensions between Manila and Beijing over the West Philippine Sea have increased since Marcos assumed the presidency. Marcos previously proclaimed that the Philippines would not yield a single inch of its territory. Senator Ronald Bato Dela Rosa says he is certain that the upper chamber will be able to pass the Mandatory Reserve Officers Training Corps bill. In a phone interview, Dela Rosa says he is confident that the ROTC bill will pass, although he admits that it may not get an overwhelming vote in the Senate. Dela Rosa, who is a staunch advocate of ROTC, says his personal estimate shows that they will win by a slim margin. His remarks came after Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri disclosed that the Senate will prioritize the mandatory ROTC bill in May before the Sine Die break. In an interview on Monday, Senate President Zubiri said that they will be giving the bill a chance, adding that he thinks more senators are in favor of ROTC. Senator De La Rosa says he is hopeful that the bill will be passed before President Bongbong Marcos' State of the Nation address in July. When asked if he wants to revive ROTC because of the heightened tensions in the West Philippine Sea, De La Rosa maintains that there is still a need for ROTC with or without the water dispute. Meanwhile, opposition Senator Risa Ontiveros earlier said that instead of reviving the mandatory ROTC program, there is a need for higher funding and support for military modernization, especially the Philippine Navy amid China's aggression in the Philippine waters. 69% of Filipinos are in favor of making Reserve Officers Training Corps or ROTC mandatory for all young Filipinos. This is according to a Pulse Asia survey commissioned by Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri. According to the survey, 69% of the respondents agree with making ROTC mandatory for all young people, while 17% disagree. Meanwhile, 14% of the respondents are undecided. The survey was conducted from December 3 to 7, 2023. Prior to the issuance of the commissioned poll, Zubiri told reporters that the proposed mandatory ROTC bill would be prioritized in the Senate in May this year. Zubiri added that more senators are in favor of ROTC rather than not. The Philippines' mandatory ROTC was abolished following the death of then 19-year-old University of Santo Tomas student Mark Wilson Chua. Chua, who allegedly exposed corruption in the university's ROTC program, was found dead on March 18, 2001. The Department of Health reports rising cases of pertussis or whooping cough in 5 regions in the last 6 weeks. In a statement, the DOH says that the regions of Eastern Visayas, Cagayan Valley, Caraga, Central Luzon, and Cordillera Autonomous Region showed a continuous increase in the number of cases for the past 6 weeks. The department adds that majority of the cases reported were among children less than 5 years old, while only 4% are adults aged 20 years old and above. The DOH reports that out of 1,112 cases recorded from January 1 to March 30, 2024, 54 resulted in deaths. According to the DOH, the effects of vaccination will not be immediately observed until after 4 to 6 weeks. Meanwhile, Health Secretary Teodoro Urbosa earlier said that the country may have a shortage of pertussis vaccines by May, but added that vaccines are available from the private sector. Pertussis is caused by the Bordetella pertussis or Bordetella parapertussis bacteria. Some of its symptoms include coughs, colds, and fever. It can be prevented through vaccination and treated with antibiotics.